Here we go. Okay, Ryan, ready to go?
Hey, good afternoon. I'd like to welcome you to the presentation of the new show I wish you to commission called On the Road Again, and I believe it's going to be the future and the new future of BBC Radio 4. As I said, it's going to be the new future of Radio 4, which I'll go on to explain later. It's going to be a new 6-part comedy series lasting 30 minutes each. The content of the show will mock well-known reality TV show programmes and will focus on real-life stories, and this is simple and easy to relate to for the listeners. It's light-hearted comedy that is easy to listen to, and it will focus on 6 fake celebrities that are made up, which will travel across the UK in an old camper van and complete tasks which is similar to reality TV programmes such as Britain's Got Talent, Splash, Strictly Come Dancing and The X Factor. And they all remain to compete on the bus for the final challenge. So why do I think this is good for Radio 4? Radio 4 describes itself as a station that is for anyone with intellectual speech. It is packed with witty comedy, and On the Road Again fits that perfectly, as it's going to be witty comedy, it's light-hearted, and it's just really easy to listen to. Over 10.2 million people tune into Radio 4 for 15 minutes every week, and we believe there's a strong market for this. It's a new gap in the market, it's something that's never been done before, and it will rival other broadcasters, such as the likes of ITV, Sky as well, not just television but Absolute, and which is stations that have never featured upon this idea with the new phenomenon of reality TV and shows. Although the demographic of Radio 4 is around 40 and over, the UK population tends to watch a lot of reality TV programmes, such as the likes of Towie, such as the likes of The X Factor, and although the figures and the demographics of them are a bit younger, reality TV programme is a bit like Marmite. You either hate it or you love it. So to bring it to Radio 4 as a comedy programme, it's an idea to mock it for the older generation that don't like it as much, but then also bring the listeners for the younger viewing figures who like reality TV programmes. So how can I justify this? Well, if you excuse me for being cringy, it's basically like a cup of tea. British people love tea, like they love reality TV programmes. They like it fresh because the tea's refreshing, it's strong in a nice cup, and everyone likes it different, basically, whether it's 1 sugar, 2 sugars or 3 sugars. And that's what On the Road is about. As I said, it's never been done before. It's unique, it's brand new and fill an open gap for the BBC. Adults, obviously, they like a bit of mockery. It's a strong idea, it's revolutionary. As I said, as I keep saying, it's never been done before, and it will be paid out easily on Radio 4. And it's different. It's something an area that's never been touched upon in radio before. So that's the way it's going to fill an open gap and bring a new type of listener. So let me tell you an example of a show that will go out on there. Take Splash, the ITV reality show. In one episode, they'll travel in the camper van as a comedy effect to a small town in the UK, say Skegness for example, and just to a town swimming pool. And to compete, it will show their real life stories in a VT style, like on The X Factor, about their stories or issues they've faced upon heading up to this episode to compete. Each character will be different, whether on the large side, on the slim side, and it will just act upon the comedy effect for the listeners, that easy to relate to. And as reality TV shows so successful, it's probably because of the fact that all the characters, whether it's shows like Big Brother or Towie, people can relate to the characters as their life or people they know. I can say, yeah, they're similar to him, or yeah, they're similar to that, and that's what will make the comedy effect. So who supports this idea? I've got in contact with 2 BBC Radio 4 producers, Lisa Campbell, who's editor of the Broadcast magazine, believes it's a very good idea, and Gus Beattie, who is a producer for Sketcherama on Radio 4, who believes it's very good, but will need a unique idea to work with, and that's what we come on to discuss now. reality TV shows are really unique as they've grown in the last 10 years. They've become a strong part of the British ID, such as Big Brother Geordie Shore. Many people watch that. If you go onto Twitter, loads of people are writing tweets about it. And the radio is still the most powerful medium. I mean, 90% of the population still tune into the radio each week. This staggers above the television figures. So this is where the gap in the market will come into play with radio. I'll now have a short video into why reality TV has become so successful. But I don't think it's going to work, so I'll just explain what he talks about. He talks about the fact that reality TV programs are similar to sport, where you get involved basically with like a sports star or reality TV star. We could take, for example, Watford have just got to play a final where I'm obviously passionate and strongly support the team as my hometown. If you were to say get someone in a social reality TV program or radio show that comes from your town, you're going to necessarily relate to them more and become more passionate about it. And for example, I follow most of the Watford players on Twitter because obviously I'm a strong part of them. I've met a few of them quite on many times. And with them all having Twitter, it's really easy for you to relate to them, obviously, with what they tweet. And that's what's similar to the characters on our show will have. And also blogging about their experiences. And I know Radio 4, the target audience is a little bit higher. But with the future of radio looking like it's now looking more digital and online, the future of Radio 4 needs social networking and needs like the internet to power through to make it stronger. And that's how we'll be using social networking. And also lots of Facebook groups. Facebook groups will be set up easily and be able to be plugged on the show throughout it. And with the characters having their own Twitters, Facebook and blogs, this will make it much more easy, and the whole social media will be able to relate to the show on the road itself. And who do we have to present the show? Now, Adam Buxton is a very strong comedy character. I mean, he's presented shows on Six Music, such as Adam and Joe, and now his show with Edith Bowman. He's also appeared in the likes of Hot Fuzz, and I feel he would fit the role perfectly. And he's not with him already working in the BBC, it would be quite easy to get hold of and to work for us at a relatively low cost, most probably. He's very well liked, obviously, with a higher audience. Obviously, did a bit of research. A lot of people like his shows. He gets good figures on it. So that's why I feel he would be perfect to present the show on the road again, in a comedy acting way, not as a presenter, but obviously as he's an actor as well, I feel like he'd present it very well. So when we're looking for this show to be on there, it'll be every Wednesday from 8 o'clock to 8:30 with a regular podcast available online from the BBC itself or iTunes. The reason why we've chosen it to be on Wednesday because it's the middle of the week. It'll give people to look forward to. Maybe they're getting home on the Monday, tired from work and not in a great mood as the Monday feeling is. Wednesday would give it a more better opportunity and something to look forward to on the week. Also 8 o'clock I believe is a nice bit of time for the family. It's going to be a show for the family, for the older generation to sit down with their children, or for, and with this 8 o'clock to 8:30 is the time maybe when you just finished dinner, you're just sitting down, children are preparing to go to bed, maybe sitting down about to have a glass of wine, and that's what Radio 4 is. I feel that's the time when you're going to need this type of show. And also, to plug the show more and more, we'd be hoping to use the flagship shows to give it a bit more promotion. So the likes of The One Show and BBC Breakfast, characters will be able to go onto these shows and will be able to talk in their acting style about what they've been up to, where they're going, and they also make the whole mediums relate, obviously TV with radio and social networking. They'll be able to plug their Twitters, they'll be able to plug the show more, they'll be interviewed about what they're doing. Maybe there's people who have left the show will be able to go on there and talk about experiences. And this will have a nice feel as well to the show and maybe create more bigger listeners, as these are the main times for the BBC and their shows. So I'm going to end on this point, although I don't want to be cringy. It's not the end of the road. It's time to go on the road with BBC Radio 4, and that's why I feel you should commission us today. And so thank you for listening, and are there any questions today?
Thank you, Ryan. So you're aiming for a Wednesday night between 8 and 8:30 on 4. What's currently being played out in that time slot?
It feels like there's other obviously shows around this time, like comedy shows or dramas that I think people are going to sit down and listen to. I'm unsure of the names of them, but I feel like it will be a unique gap in the market to add this into there, especially because reality TV shows usually are played out on television around that time, like the X Factor or Towie, or for example, shows like that.
Okay. And one of your driving factors seems to be to try and lower the average age of the Radio 4 listener, try and attract.
Yeah.
I like the idea that you're aiming to publicise it on flagship shows. What else are you going to do to try and pull in those younger listeners?
Well, maybe they could go onto other interview shows, for example, comedy shows. I know Sarah McMillan does one, for example. If characters were to go on to shows like that, maybe they could have their own YouTube channel as well, and obviously show interviews into why they were picked to go on the camper van, for example, and obviously then videos should be shared on Facebook, onto the Facebook page as well, where they're able to be shared on there, maybe on Twitter as well. More and more plugs like a hashtag or something like that, where people see, oh, what's this, and click on it, and then would be able to relate it on the road again.
Okay. And so just to let me get my head around it, the idea is it's a 6-part series, and you've got 6 actors playing the parts of these reality show contestants.
Yes.
And when you're talking about social media, you're talking about these actors appearing in character on other shows.
Yeah.
So these needs to be quite well-rounded characters, and you need to have quite a lot of access to the actors.
Yeah.
What sort of, I mean, how are you going to fund that? And also with the stuff that these characters are pushing out onto social media, so if they're going to have their own Twitter accounts and Facebook pages, who's going to be creating that content?
I believe the producers will probably do most of the work, so we'd hire someone for the social networking. It wouldn't be the characters themselves. Obviously the writers of the show would be also producing what would go out on social networking. Obviously the actors are just going to be the actors, and that's all they're going to do to that side, whereas the producers who write the show, and obviously the writers, will create all the content as well for social media.
Okay. And how does your show compare to the show? I think probably the show that's most like this on Radio 4 just now is one called Down the Line. How will your show compare to that?
Well, it's different because it focuses on a range of reality TV programmes, because it can bring a listener in from people who relate to different types of shows like Splash, for example, or the likes of the X Factor, who like singing, or Strictly Come Dancing, who like dancing. They can maybe relate and tune into that episode, for example, and also, where they can relate to that episode. And then maybe also, if they like the comedy, they're going to stay on. And also they can tell more people about it. For some people like Splash, they could be like, oh, you might like this comedy on Radio 4.
Okay, lovely. Thank you very much, man. Jackie tried to break it off.
Are we in the other room for the meeting?
No, I think we're going to be in here.
Shall we go and grab everyone?
Yeah, please, that'd be lovely, thank you.